How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? You learn Robert here. So, there has been an issue with shortages on Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, that's right. There's been an issue with shortages on Dunkin' Donuts. So, if you are trying to get your donuts in select areas, you're gonna have issues trying to get your Dunkin' Donuts. And guess what? Yeah. So you're probably saying, well, I don't go to Dunkin'. I'm a Krispy Kreme person. I am too. But when it comes to coffee, I actually like Dunkin' Donuts better than the Krispy Kremes on the coffee. They got it down pat on the coffee, but the donuts is a no-go. In my opinion, Krispy Kreme has a better donut. But my northerners are going to say, hey, wait a minute, you learn. What did you say about them donuts? I like them donuts. So Krispy Kreme, no, I'm sorry, Dunkin' Donuts, being silly, is actually experiencing some shortages when it comes to their actual donuts. They're experiencing some shortages when it comes to their donuts. Yes, that's right, shortages when it comes to their donuts. So how does that affect you? What do you need to make sure that you're doing? Places like Nebraska is experiencing shortages. They're experiencing supply chain shortages. They're experiencing issues when it comes to the supply chain and actually labor shortages and certain breakfast items. So if you're there and you like the breakfast items for Dunkin' Donuts, you're probably seeing that there's going to be some issues with those particular things. So what do you need to do? And how does this affect the Dunkin' Donuts stock? You're probably wondering, hey, you learn, what do you mean? Well, Dunkin' Donuts was on the market, DNKN. You're probably saying, why are you talking about this? Your stock channel, stocks and crypto and travel, why are you doing this? So Dunkin' Donuts was on the market at DNKN. The last previous close was 106.48. And, as it relates to Dunkin' Donuts, they've had some issues as it relates to being publicly traded. They're no longer a publicly traded company. They're required in 2020. The last day of trading was in December 2020. They're required and put in a private group in 2020 by an Atlanta group. Now you're probably saying, you learned, what does this have anything to do with Dunkin' Donuts now? Well, let's say if they're trying to go back on the market. Now, this is not financial or investment advice. You have to look at the things that they're experiencing now to see if they can get these things rectified for later. So that's why I'm covering this. So the actual Dunkin' Donuts issue, yes, they're experiencing the issue right now. And yes, there's a supply chain shortage on Dunkin' Donuts. So if you're a Dunkin' Donuts fan and you're trying to go to get your donuts, you're probably wondering, why can't I get them? And this is why it's an issue. It's a known issue. It's a nationwide issue in select markets. And you understand why you can't get it. Now, if you have actually experienced that issue, put it down in the comments if you experienced that issue with your Dunkin' Donuts. Going forward, I always look at everything from a business perspective. So they're privately traded now, but if they're trying to become a publicly traded company, I'm looking at the fact of, hey, look, what can you do to correct these supply chain shortages? What can you do to correct these labor issues? What can you do to correct these breakfast items? Now, looking at the CEO, they combated and said, hey, look, we are trying to focus on our coffee brand. We're doing more focusing on our coffee brand. We're not focusing on our actual donuts. We're focusing on our coffee. So the question I have to ask you is this supply chain shortage a forced shortage so that more people can go and say, hey, I would rather buy the coffee? Is this supply chain issue a true supply chain issue? I don't know. You ask me. I personally think if they're trying to focus on their coffee brand, my personal opinion is that the coffee is a whole lot better than the donuts. Anyone from the north is going to say, no, you learned, Robert, the donuts is better than the coffee. Anyone from the south is going to say, you're quite right, you learned, Robert, Krispy Kreme is better. But we can't say Krispy Kreme's coffee is better than Dunkin' Donuts. And if you're saying that, you're delusional. Krispy Kreme, you need to work on your coffee. You need to work on your coffee brand. It doesn't even come close to the Dunkin' Donuts brand, in my opinion. I like the donuts better at Krispy Kreme. I like the coffee better at Dunkin' Donuts. So if I go to Dunkin' Donuts, it's going to be for coffee. It's not going to be for donuts. I had Dunkin' Donuts. Actually, I had a gift card someone gave me from Dunkin' Donuts. And I tried some donuts. I tried them. And it still wasn't good. That's just my opinion. Everyone from the north, especially from New York, you do not like Krispy Kreme because it's too sweet. Personally, I try not to eat that many sweet things, trying to work on diet and things of that nature. So I'm not trying to eat that much sweets. And coffee, as it relates to that, I drink it straight. I don't put any sugar or anything like that in it because I'm trying not to get all those sweets in my system. However, when it comes to you, ask yourself this question: will this affect you? Is this something that you can look forward to later? And make a mental note when it comes to them trading on the stock market. Hey, look, are we going to fix these supply chain issues? Are we going to dump the donut brand altogether in select markets? I personally think in select markets, they should go and say, look, these things are not beneficial in select markets. These things in select markets are not working the way we need it to work. In select markets, I think they need to look and say, hey, look, we need to go and think our strategy. And once we rethink our strategy, we need to go back and say, okay, in these markets, we're not going to sell this many donuts or this many breakfast items. In this market, we're going to sell, because we sell a lot of donuts, we're going to focus on donuts and coffee. I think the CEO needs to look at those aspects when it comes to the ROI for the shareholder if they decide to go ahead and bring it back to the market. My opinion, DNKN brands, it was 106.48 in 2020. That's a pretty high price, pretty good price. The 52-week high was 106.50. The 52-week high, the low, was $38.51. And looking at some aspects, they had 13,200 restaurants. So based on that information, if I'm the CEO, I understand that you're focusing on coffee. And I personally believe the coffee brand is better than the donut brand. However, when it comes to breakfast items, because you got to look at places like Starbucks, they have breakfast items. Dunkin Donuts should have breakfast items. Krispy Kreme has breakfast items. Unless you're going to trade the store as it relates to a more barista style store that serves specialty coffee, and you have select coffee, roast and taste, and you actually utilize it that way. Have like a style where you can sit and eat and drink coffee, more of a atmosphere of a coffee barista, but you're still going to have some type of breakfast items to satisfy the coffee goer. Maybe you have scones, and maybe you may select things like certain donuts that are better suited for coffee in certain areas. Maybe you say, okay, these donuts sell well in these areas. These donuts do not sell well in these areas, so we're going to focus more on the donut in these areas. We're going to take these donuts in these areas, and we're going to make sure that these donuts in these areas are, the ones we focus on. In these areas, these donuts sell. We're going to sell these donuts and breakfast items in these areas. So that's what we're going to focus on. So my personal opinion is, you got to look at the matrix, look and see what's going on, look and see your sales, and go from there. But based on what I'm seeing, and based on what I'm hearing from the CEO, what he's putting out in the press releases, saying that they're focusing on their donut brand, their coffee brand. So, like I said, I personally like the coffee. You tell me, do you like Dunkin' Donuts coffee or donuts better? Let me know in the comments. If you're watching the video now, let me know. Do you like Dunkin' Donuts coffee or donuts better? But once again, this is You Learn Robert, where we cover stocks, crypto, gold and silver, travel, and things of that nature. But go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next level of greatness. Thank you so much. If you're just tuning in this year, Happy New Year. Do me a favor. Go ahead and like the video. Comment on the video. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to have more bangers coming out. And I want to make sure that you are, as the person who's watching these videos, I want to make sure that you are in tune to what's going on so that you can be helped, especially what's going on now. Once again, You Learn Robert. We'll talk to you on the next level of greatness. We'll see you. Bye.